Harry and Meghan panic after hospital leaks real identity of their kids just 36 hours after check-in. A woman just came forward claiming she secretly carried Archie and Lilibet, and now she's naming names. She's not just talking, she's showing documents, NDAs, and offering DNA. So why are Meghan and Harry silent and scrambling behind the scenes? Why is a woman named DL claiming to be the real mother of Archie and Lilibet? She wasn't supposed to exist. Now she's on camera, calm, confident, and carrying receipts. Just 36 hours after an anonymous check-in at a Southern California hospital, the internet caught fire. A woman, publicly identifying only as DL, came forward claiming she was the biological surrogate for both of Meghan and Harry's children, Archie and Lilibet, not a donor, not an egg carrier, a full-term contracted surrogate with legal documents, financial records, and time-stamped NDAs. And she's not hiding in the shadows. She's gone public with her face, voice, and timeline. Her words: "I was promised privacy and compensation. Instead, I was erased from the narrative." According to DL, she was first approached in late 2018 through a California-based agency specializing in high-profile surrogacy arrangements. She claims Meghan's legal team handled housing, security, medical appointments, and even psychological evaluations, but demanded strict secrecy. Her story breaks years of speculation that had been dismissed as conspiracy, from Meghan's collapsing baby bump to mysteriously timed public appearances. Videos once mocked on YouTube are now resurfacing and gaining millions of new views. DL's entrance into the spotlight doesn't just raise eyebrows, it ignites legal, cultural, and royal questions no one was prepared to answer. Because if she's telling the truth, then two children presented to the world as royal heirs may have entered that world under completely false pretenses. And if this is just baseless fiction, why hasn't anyone in the Sussex camp issued a single clear denial? Not Harry, not Meghan, not even the palace. But if she's lying, why has no one sued her? In a world of instant litigation, silence is a strategy. And right now, Meghan and Harry aren't saying a word. DL's allegations aren't whispered on obscure forums. They're front and center. She's named the hospital, she's listed appointment dates, she's claimed contact with Meghan's legal team, and even offered to undergo independent DNA testing in front of cameras. Her story is public, detailed, and dangerously confident. So where's the denial? Meghan, who once sued the Mail on Sunday over a private letter, and one hasn't threatened legal action. Harry, who's taken multiple media outlets to court for defamation and privacy invasion, remains silent. Even the couple's usual PR surrogates, outlets like People, Harper's Bazaar, and The Cut, haven't published a single quote. Behind the scenes, it's a different story. Sources close to major US and UK media houses confirm that Meghan and Harry's legal team has issued at least 4 cease and desist letters in the past 10 days. Not to DL, but to outlets rumored to be preparing to interview her. The message: don't air it, don't touch it. But here's the problem: when your response to explosive allegations is to suppress coverage instead of disproving facts, it raises more questions than it silences. And DL, she's not backing down. She's offered to testify under oath. She's dared them to sue. Her confidence feels rehearsed, like she's waited for this moment. So if this is truly fiction, why are Meghan and Harry acting like they're out of moves? And it's not just legal silence. Online detectives are digging up footage Meghan likely hoped had disappeared forever, because now even her pregnancy bump is under investigation. Now, why did Meghan's baby bump collapse on camera twice? Once dismissed as a wardrobe glitch, it's now headline evidence, and the footage is impossible to unsee. In October 2018, Meghan Markle made a public appearance at the Australian Invictus Games, visibly pregnant with baby Archie. But in a now viral clip, as she crouches to greet a child, the fabric around her abdomen folds inward. Her baby bump visibly collapses. Viewers at the time called it a dress wrinkle, but today, it's being dissected frame by frame. It didn't stop there. In January 2019, while visiting the National Theatre in London, photographers captured Meghan's bump appearing dramatically larger than it had just days before. Experts noticed the position had shifted from unusually low to unusually high in under 72 hours. Maternity stylists and obstetric nurses interviewed on Reddit and podcast panels noted one thing: real bumps don't move like that. At the time, these inconsistencies were dismissed as baseless gossip, but now, with DL's testimony hitting mainstream media, the footage is being reinterpreted and rewatched watched by millions. A viral side-by-side comparison on TikTok has over 12.3 million views, showing Meghan's bump behaving more like a costume prop than a real pregnancy. And as DL tells her side of the story, detailing medical isolation and custom prosthetic fittings during public outings. The old footage starts to feel less like a fluke and more like evidence of choreography. So the question isn't just whether Meghan faked it, it's how many people helped her pull it off. Because the moment that should have proven everything, the royal birth announcement, only added fuel to the fire. And looking back, it was strange from the start. Why did Archie's birth break every royal tradition? The world expected a royal photo call. What they got was Harry, alone outside a stable. On May 6, 2019, Prince Harry announced the birth of his first child with a short, unscripted video filmed in front of horse stalls, not the steps of a hospital as royal tradition dictates. No press pool, no official medical statement, no confirmation of the hospital, just Harry smiling nervously and saying, "It's been the most amazing experience I could ever possibly imagine." It felt off, and it was. Historically, royal births are tightly choreographed events. From Princess Diana to Kate Middleton, royal mothers gave birth in St. Mary's Hospital's Lindo Wing, with cameras waiting outside. The newborn is introduced to the world within hours. Meghan's absence from that script was the first sign that something wasn't right. Initially, the palace said the couple wanted privacy, but soon after, conflicting reports emerged about where the birth even happened. Some speculated the Portland Hospital in London, others claimed it was a private clinic in Windsor. Still, no hospital has ever confirmed Archie's delivery. Royal watchers also noticed that senior royals didn't visit the newborn in public view, a stark contrast to protocol. And when the birth certificate was finally released, it added a new layer of confusion. Why was it all so vague? Because now, with DL claiming she gave birth in California, the entire 2019 rollout starts to look less like royal discretion and more like a scripted diversion. And if the rollout was a performance, what came next? The name on the birth certificate might be the legal clue that unraveled everything. Why was Meghan's name removed from the birth certificate? It was supposed to be a minor clerical update, but in hindsight, it may have been the first legal red flag. When Archie's birth certificate was finally made public in May 2019, eagle-eyed journalists noticed something strange. Meghan's full legal name, Rachel Meghan Markle, was missing. In its place, Her Royal Highness the Duchess of Sussex. Royal watchers immediately questioned the change. Why erase her actual identity from a legal document? The palace responded first, claiming the alteration was made at the request of the couple's office. Days later, Meghan's spokesperson contradicted that entirely, saying the change had been made without her knowledge or consent. The conflicting stories only deepened public suspicion. At the time, the explanation was chalked up to internal confusion. But now, in light of DL's allegations, legal analysts see it differently. According to multiple UK legal experts, removing Meghan's personal name may have shielded her from potential scrutiny under Section 29 of the Births and Death Registration Act, which makes it a criminal offense to knowingly misstate parentage on a government document. If Meghan wasn't the biological mother, listing her as such could have constituted false registration, a serious matter even for royals. So was the name removed to preserve titles or to prevent legal complications? Today, even veteran constitutional advisors are revisiting this moment, suggesting it wasn't just about optics, but about minimizing liability. And yet, the most damning detail isn't what was taken off the record, it's the person now demanding to be put back on it, because DL isn't hiding behind anonymity anymore. She's daring them to prove her wrong with a DNA test in court on record. So why is the Sussex team running from that challenge? Why is DL offering DNA turbois while Meghan offers silence? She's ready to take a test, they're ready to take legal action, but not to disprove her. DL isn't just making claims, she's challenging Meghan and Harry to settle this the scientific way. A court-supervised third-party DNA test involving both children. In a private interview released by a US media outlet, she stated, "I will submit samples under oath, on camera, with legal observers. All I ask is that they do the same." That offer, bold and public, has yet to be acknowledged by either Sussex. Instead, Meghan and Harry's legal team have reportedly issued multiple cease and desist letters to platforms platforms preparing to air DL's interviews. Insiders from 2 major networks say segments have already been taped but are being held back due to behind-the-scenes legal pressure. But why fight transparency with suppression? Meghan has built her brand on truth, empowerment, and dismantling secrecy. So why not meet DL's confidence head-on with facts? Why avoid the very method that would definitively end the debate? Even loyalists are confused. A recent Twitter X poll by a royal fan account with over 800,000 followers showed 68% of respondents believe the Sussexes should immediately agree to a DNA test to settle the matter publicly. That's a sharp contrast to earlier years when support for Meghan was unwavering. DL's boldness is drawing more attention than any statement Meghan's team hasn't made, and every hour of silence reinforces the narrative that there's something to hide. But if DL is telling the truth, why was her experience as a surrogate so hidden and so traumatic that she ended up in the hospital and then disappeared from the story completely? How did the surrogate end up hospitalized, then erased? She risked her health to deliver royal heirs. Then she says she was discarded like she never existed. According to DL, her second pregnancy, allegedly with Lilibet, didn't end in celebration. It ended in a California emergency room where she was treated for postpartum preeclampsia, a dangerous condition that can cause seizures, organ failure, and stroke. Medical records shared with journalists confirm a 72-hour hospitalization in June 2021, just days after Lilibet's reported birth. Her claim, not a single member of Meghan or Harry's team followed up. DL says she was kept in strict isolation during both pregnancies. No phone calls, no visitors, no public records, all under the guise of security. Every interaction was handled through intermediaries. The house she lived in, rented under a Shell LLC, groceries and medication, delivered anonymously. I wasn't a person, she told one interviewer. I was a vessel. After delivery, she says she was given a final wire transfer, handed an updated NDA, and instructed not to contact anyone from the Sussex legal team again. But it was the lack of medical follow-up, she says, that broke her silence. They had no plan for me after the cameras stopped rolling. DL claims she began saving everything: appointment logs, bank statements, emails from Meghan's legal assistant, and compiling a timeline that could stand up in court, and now she's ready to use it. Because the real story isn't just about Meghan's actions, it's about Harry's inaction. And the question everyone's asking is, did he know, or was he fooled like everyone else? Why is Harry reportedly unraveling behind the scenes? He was once the rebel prince with a plan. Now, insiders say he's spiraling, caught between the truth and the life he built on top of it. In the weeks following DL's emergence, sources inside the Sussexes' Montecito estate describe an emotionally volatile Harry. One staffer told the Times UK, he's barely sleeping, snapping at aides, paranoid about who knew what and when. It's not just stress, it's unraveling. According to multiple palace-adjacent insiders, Harry's behavior has shifted drastically since DL's story surfaced. He's reportedly canceled meetings, stopped routine security briefings, and withdrawn from media strategy sessions. A longtime former aide put it bluntly, he looks cornered. Even more revealing, friends close to Harry say he's begun questioning whether Meghan's team told him the full truth about the original surrogacy arrangements. While he always presented a unified front in public, some believe Harry may have been shielded from key legal details, or kept out of the paper trail altogether. But other sources aren't so generous. They claim Harry knew the truth from the beginning, that the secrecy, the missing hospital photos, the birth certificate edits, they were part of the plan, that he helped orchestrate the illusion to protect Meghan and protect the royal brand they were building outside the monarchy. And now that brand is cracking, because if he knew the pregnancies weren't real and helped hide it, then he's not a victim, he's a co-author. But while Harry retreats into silence and suspicion, the monarchy is preparing for something far more serious, because if the children's origins were falsified, it could shake the line of succession itself. Why is the palace quietly reviewing the children's legitimacy? The Crown isn't making statements, but behind the scenes, it's reportedly reviewing one of the most delicate constitutional crises in royal history. According to royal correspondents at the Telegraph and Daily Mail, palace legal advisors have been holding private meetings with constitutional scholars since early July 2025. Just days after DL's claims went public, the topic, whether royal protocol was breached breached during the births of Archie and Lilibet. It's not about surrogacy being illegal. It isn't. It's about whether the use of a surrogate was concealed and whether that concealment violates royal succession law, which requires legitimate birth through royal lineage under formal oversight. Under the Bill of Rights 1689 and the Act of Settlement 1701, the line of succession to the British throne hinges not just on blood, but legitimacy and transparency. If it turns out Meghan and Harry used a surrogate and failed to disclose it, the implications are massive. Can children born via undisclosed surrogacy inherit princely titles? Can they remain in the line of succession if royal medical protocol was bypassed? According to a former aide to Queen Elizabeth II, this would be a first. And if proven true, it could lead to disqualification, not just from titles, but from any official recognition as heirs. Official investigations are unlikely, but a quiet review already underway could result in title reassessment, public distancing, or in the extreme, total removal from the royal roster. And while the crown weighs legitimacy, the world watches the Sussex brand collapse. Because when everyone who once supported them starts walking away, you know something's broken that can't be spun back into place. And if it's all false, why is everyone who once backed them now walking away? They were once Hollywood's golden couple. Now their closest allies are going silent one by one. In just 3 weeks following DL's revelations, a quiet but undeniable shift has taken place. Spotify, which ended its $20 million deal with the Sussexes in 2023, officially announced it would not renew any future development agreements. Netflix, once the home of Harry and Meghan, has paused talks for an upcoming project pending internal brand evaluations. But it's not just corporate. Celebrity supporters who once publicly championed Meghan, Oprah, Serena Williams, Tyler Perry, even Ellen DeGeneres, have all stayed silent. Not a single one has defended her publicly since the DL allegations went mainstream. Even podcast platforms are retreating. Archetype's Meghan's podcast has seen a 63% drop in stream volume according to Chartable Analytics. Fan-run social media pages like Meghan's Mirror have quietly disabled comment sections after being flooded with questions about the surrogacy story. One former PR consultant close to the couple said it bluntly: "The room has gone cold. Nobody wants to be tethered to a story with this much legal fallout potential." And the most telling sign? Meghan's own brand sponsors, from her skincare line to wine collaborations, are now reassessing their contracts. At least 2 product partners have frozen marketing campaigns indefinitely. In an image-driven industry, optics are everything. And right now, the silence surrounding Meghan and Harry isn't just awkward, it's surgical. What began as a royal love story is now unraveling as a cautionary tale of secrecy, image, and a truth too heavy to hide forever. Because if the foundation was fiction, what part of it was ever real? The next chapter is darker than anyone expected. Watch now before it disappears.